everyone. This morning I thought we'd just move a little bit more into maybe what a mission-driven parish looks like. And I guess the first thing that you might think that we might expect that a mission-driven parish looks like is that it forms lots of those missionary disciples. We talked about that yesterday, and in the afternoon we talked about it again and again, didn't we? As each proposal that we brought forward, we asked ourselves, is this something that will grow missionary disciples? Or grow those ninja sheep that we talked about yesterday, those sheep that are really out there to bring Jesus to the world. Because missionary discipleship transforms lives and it transforms parishes. So people's priorities change when they become a missionary disciple, when they become one of those people there, you know, that are prayerful and outgoing and enthusiastic and have a love of Scripture. Then their priorities change and they begin to worship and they begin to learn and serve and give and fellowship with each other at a different level than socialising and evangelising. And evangelise not out of guilt, but out of that loving, close relationship with God that they've developed. And actually, if we get lots of missionary disciples in our parish, well then that's got the potential to transform our parishes. Because if you've got more and more people who are giving, who are attending, who are evangelising, the parish becomes a really different kind of place. So kind of how do we do that then? How do we transform our parishes? And I guess the only simple answer to that is by a real lot of very hard work. It's not something that will happen with just one program or just one thing, because the culture that we've developed in our parish is something that's developed for a really long time. I've got here a picture of a bus, and if you can think of the bus as our parish, and the bus is nicely parked at the curb, and all the people are sitting on a bus and they're having a really nice time on the bus, and the parish priest kind of likes to walk up and down the bus and serve people food and chat to them and get to know each other, and sometimes they get the manual for the bus out of the glove box and they learn bits of the manual and they read bits of it out to each other. Sometimes they put it to song, and they just really love sitting on the bus. But then one day the parish priest decides that he's going to get in the driver's seat of the bus and actually take the bus for a spin. And that gives the parishioners that are sitting on the bus a bit of a shock, really, because they've kind of got used to how everything kind of fits when they're sitting at the bus on the curb, and it's quite comfortable and it's not very bumpy, and the view's, you know, stable and good. But the priest has decided, or the leadership team's decided, that the bus is going to go for a bit of a whirl. And then things start to change, because some people who are on the bus and like the bus the way that it was, kind of think, we don't really want to be on this bus anymore now that it's changed, so they want to get off the bus. But the thing is that once you put a sign on the bus and you start taking your bus places, people that haven't bothered getting on that stationary bus because they couldn't see the point of it, think maybe I might want to get on this bus and go where this bus is going. So I guess the challenge is to take our parishes for a bit of a spin and see if we can take them somewhere and bring our people on a journey. So buses, really, the purpose of a bus isn't to sit on a curb. The purpose of a bus is to actually take people somewhere. And then I guess the parish vision, or where we think we're going to take people, is like the sign on a bus. And so it's really important as a parish to kind of have a bit of an idea about where we want to take this bus that we're a part of, and to put the sign on the bus and to tell everybody about where we're going to go and the route we're going to take to get there. It kind of, you know, not only tells the people that are on the bus, because the people on the bus generally want to know what they're going, but people outside the bus find that really helpful. So our parish vision, or that sign on the bus, once we want to take our bus somewhere, changes from the purpose of the parish being distributing the sacraments and the spiritual goods of the church to just the people that are on the bus, and preparing catechesis and preparing people for sacraments. Once we get our bus moving, we start to think that our bus is actually something that can take us to all sorts of places, and we can become missionaries on our bus to all the people within our parish boundaries, and that lay people have to help, and that the focus of our bus then becomes people who are missionary disciples and who can collaborate in keeping that bus moving, because it takes a lot of effort to keep the bus moving. So your parish vision has to be large. It has to be not just a little thing of just what we can do next week or what we might be able to do next month. If you think about what the mission of the church that Jesus gave us, to go to every corner of the earth, to make disciples, to baptise and to teach. That is a huge mission that he gave that kind of ragtag little group of 11 disciples there before he went to heaven. People that were unequipped, that didn't really know what they were doing. He gave them this compelling vision, and it was huge. And also it was exciting. And I think if you want people to get on board on your bus and buy into your vision as a parish leader, well, then you need to have a big vision that people think, this is really huge. And I've seen that in quite a lot of parishes around the place, that once you put a vision there, people really buy into it. And this isn't a parish vision, this is just a little vision that I'm giving as an example. But do you remember a few years ago when the Indonesians invaded East Timor, and we had a social justice group in our parish, and we were meeting to think what we're going to do about this. And then we had a parish priest come in one time and said, well, you've been meeting for 3 weeks now, have you made any decisions? And we said, well, actually we haven't. And he said, well, I'll make one for you. You're going to raise $50,000 in 3 weeks. And we kind of thought, oh gosh, how are we going to do that? But we did. Oh, well, we didn't quite get to 50, we got to 42. But when he gave us a vision, we were able to go for it. And so if you give your parish a vision, to double the number of missionary disciples in 5 years, or to do something, well, then people will get on board with that vision, because people love being part of a community that knows who it is and knows where it's going. So one of the main, a big characteristic of a mission-driven parish is that it's united in how it understands its mission, and it regularly talks to everybody in the parish about what its mission is and keeps on reminding them. Father James Mellon says if you don't preach a visioning homily about once a month, people forget what it is they're meant to be working towards. And it's really hard actually, because when you want to get that bus moving, you've got this culture in your parish of a bus that's used to sitting on the curb. And everybody has got used to how that is. So to get that bus moving for a start is like trying to move a car that's bogged. And you've got to push it, and you've got to push it, and then you seem to start to move, and then you let go and it kind of sinks back. So then you've got to push it a bit more and push it a bit more, and then it kind of sinks back. So then you've got to put a bit of extra effort in, and you push, and you get a bit of a rock happening, and then it kind of gets out of the rut and it starts to move. And that can take a couple of years, actually, of pushing and trying to actually get your bus moving. Like, this is a long-term, difficult thing. Okay, so once we want to get our bus moving, and we're pushing to get it moving, and then we finally get it moving. So, getting the bus moving means that you're going to need to change your culture. And culture is a really insidious thing, and it's kind of like fish, when they're swimming around in the water, and they don't know that it's water that they're swimming around in, it's just, what they're in. And so the water can gradually become more and more toxic, and they're not feeling that good, but they're still swimming around in it because that's all they know, and that's what our culture is. We don't know what our culture is when we're swimming around in it. So to get your bus moving, you actually need a really strong driver. And the driver of the bus in a parish is generally the parish priest. and then a very strong team around him, and he can't really do it on his own. And so a really strong piece, I think, with driving this cultural change and getting your bus moving and becoming a mission-driven parish is that your leadership of your parish is really strong and in behind the parish priest, because it's going to take a lot of work.